I am so excited to to do this interview today. I have met Hanshi. Oh, how long has it been now? 4 years ago, something like
Yeah,
that.
easy, 4 years.
And
Yes.
yeah, and I have always been fascinating and sort of attracted to your energy. I remember taking my son to your karate classes and just being fascinated with how I felt around you, right? So I am really deeply honored to be able to do this interview with you today. Um, Over the years, you have learned many things from great yogis and spiritual masters about different level of existence. So your wisdom is fascinating, and you are very kind, and you have shared over the years many things about many of your experiences, right? Including how you came into this world, which was definitely an interesting story, and um, and I think it's time for the world to know more about you, about, to know, to find out how you're guiding others into raising their vibration and what is it that you do. So tell us a little bit about you for those people that haven't watched our previous interviews, right? How it all started, who is Hanshi Deena Naidu?
Well, firstly, I must thank you for inviting me to be on this podcast. I've been looking forward to it actually, as I did with Aaron's interview. It's just you people are just wonderful people to give me the opportunity of sharing my life. And today, it's an absolute joy. It's an absolute joy to be here, I must say. And I wish I can contribute enough for people to understand life, its journey, and also share some of my own life journey. My whole life has been a fascinating story. And it's like a movie script, it's like a movie
I
when I
can
look at
definitely,
it. Yeah, when
I can
I
definitely
look
agree with that. There's so many things that you blow my mind with. So, for those of you that don't know, Hanshi actually is a well-known karate teacher, and he's very well known, like in this art, right? Because you call it art, not a sport. Is that correct, Hanshi?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Yes.
And you have had a massive contribution to the karate world, but there's another aspect of you that a lot of people might not be aware of, which is the spiritual side of you, right? Which I came to discover that the more conversations we start having, right? So, for those of you that don't know, Hanshi actually is a spiritual a teacher as well. So tell us, what karate has to do with spiritual world? Like, what is it that, like, for most
Yes.
people it'd be a bit like, what was the connection, like, what the, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so how did you end up, from being a karate teacher to actually becoming a master of teaching people in raising their frequency to be able to manifest, to bring more good and more love into their life? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me start at the beginning here with my journey, right? When my parents were married and they had a child and their firstborn, and the firstborn died after mom gave birth. And I was then, conceived, and I was born 7 months, born during the riots of 1949 in South Africa. So mom
So
gave birth to me
1949 is this,
1949, yes.
and you were born at 7 months, right? Only.
7 months, yeah.
Wow.
Seven months or 6 months or 7 months. I mean, really, I don't know to be 100% sure, but it was certainly more than 3 months premature. And I was the size of the palm of my hand, blue in color, like a little rat. I had a shoebox as a bed and the cotton wool as a blanket. I was fed with a dispenser, one drop at a time. My goodness, mom's firstborn was dead. Her secondborn was premature, and she dropped me. I fell from my hands, fell to the floor. Thank God I never landed on my head. But anyway.
You are you are actually a miracle in itself, like your birth, like the fact that you survive, in that year, because we didn't really have the technology was not really there, right, to
Yeah.
support the premature baby. And then she dropped you and you still survive. You came here for a reason, isn't easy to say.
Yeah, well, it was my
Determined.
second attempt, Christina. It was my second attempt. I died as a firstborn and I was born again.
Ah, okay,
It's the
that
same
was good
soul,
luck.
right? It's the same soul reborn. And so, I mean, there is a story behind all of that, which is very interesting about mom and dad. Dad was a police officer. Mom fell in love with him while he was walking beat. Walking beat over the fence. She met this young, handsome police officer and married him, but not just married him, she eloped with him. She took off and married him. And then, a uh, firstborn died, and then I was born prematurely. And as I fell from my hands and I survived. Wow. It was meant for me to be born on this planet, and I look at my life now. It was born for me to be a teacher, to guide others. So I took on karate because of the only purpose and the only reason why I took on karate is because living in South Africa was not safe. So I had to learn something to protect myself. I started with wrestling, boxing, and then karate. And when I saw karate for the first time, I just fell in love with it. And I said, wow, this is the way to go. But it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't enough. I had to learn more. So I traveled to Japan. And interestingly, I landed in one of the toughest schools in the whole of Japan. But the teacher was a spiritual master as well as a tough, rough man. He was tough, he was rough, and he was spiritual. It was the ideal situation for me to be. Ideal. It was perfect. So I learned karate. I learned this defense. And of course, it wasn't an easy thing. It was the toughest. I think today it'll be very difficult for modern people to go through the kind of challenges we had to face in those days to learn karate. Today, it's on YouTube and it's on, you can have a teacher online teaching you and so on. But the old days was hard discipline. You had to develop respect. And with all of this, I just focused on my goal. My goal was to go back as a qualified teacher of karate, qualified teacher. And I trained 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, no stopping, no rest. Not one day did I stop. I focused on the goal. I achieved what I achieved. As a matter of fact, I do everything in life like that. I focus on a goal. I keep my mind at it and I win. I mean, if you're the winner, you don't think about losing. It never even enters my mind. It's all about, people today, we find a lot of people giving up, Christina. Just the thought of something, they give up. Just the thought of it. There's too many distractions. There's too many bends in their movement, and the
Hanshi,
focus is not clear.
I just want to ask you, like, what will make a karate teacher, transit towards a spiritual path? Like, what kind of experience or what kind of, I mean, how did you find this purpose of how did you tap into this gift? Because I mean, I have, you have been my mentor for quite a while now, and I mean, the meditations that I've done with you, they were unbelievable. In the experiences that, I had while we were working together, they were incredible. So tell me, how does a karate teacher become the spiritual, guide? Like, what has happened that made you out of a sudden tap into this gift?
Christina, I was born with it. I was born with it. I was born to be a teacher. I was born to be a leader or a guide, a mentor to humanity. You know, nothing is a coincidence. Meeting that spiritual teacher in Japan, the great master of karate, the great tough Yamaguchi, the rough Yamaguchi, meeting him and seeing the spiritual side of him and developing the spiritual side. But I was born in a family where my parents were spiritual. I was born Hindu, very happy to be born Hindu, but there was something different. My parents were interested in spiritual development from the outset. So it seems like life has paved me to be born in that family and grow in this knowledge and development, and then meeting many, many teachers, great teachers, phenomenal teachers, and where they were guiding me. And look, I never hesitated for once to listen to people talk about spirituality. So I had, Christian people, leaders guiding me. I had Buddhist leaders guiding me. I had Hindu leaders guiding me. So I had these brilliant teachers giving me a little key to open a door, another teacher giving me another key to open a door. So I started to develop this way. But karate is just an instrument to get me to where I was. And, being in the kind of karate I was in, where it had the three dimensions, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. So it was ideal for me, ideal for my purpose.
Hmm. So tell me, what's the vehicle that you're using? What are you using to enlighten people right now? What is it that you do to help others sort of tap more into this gift?
Right, Christina, the thing is, we're all divine beings on a spiritual journey, all of us, you, me, and everybody,
That's true.
and I'm not tapping into anything, it's there. You're not tapping into anything, it's there already. The only thing is we keep the door shut. We need to open the door. And how do you open the door? Through vibration, through frequency change, right? So you can be anything you want to be in this life. You got the human will to be anything. What stops us? It's our own consciousness. If we're operating on a human consciousness, then to reach higher states is an impossibility. But if you change your consciousness and you lift your consciousness, then all things are possible. So I am nothing. I am not different to anybody else. I'm the same as everybody else. The only difference is I open the doors. I open the doors. I'm not living in a box. I get out of the box.
So how does one lift its own consciousness? I mean, is it like a 1, 2, 3 step? For those logical people, like,
Right.
what is it that one has to do to lift its own consciousness?
Okay. Now, for instance, I was kind of, I don't like sleeping too much. I sleep, a few hours and sometimes a little bit extra, but most times I try not to sleep too much. But one night I said to the divine, I said, I want to learn more. I want to learn more. I want to reach greater dimensions. I want to know the truth about life. So that night I had an experience. Immediately I had an experience where I was lifted out of my body which many people listening to and say, this is crazy stuff. But that's okay. Whatever people want to believe, that's fine. But I know what I've experienced. So I was lifted out of my body into a dimension that was which I recognized to be the fourth dimension. And I had an amazing experience in the fourth dimension. And the next night, I was taken out of my body again, experiencing the fifth dimension. And the following night, after all of that, the sixth dimension. And I saw life far beyond ordinary mind consciousness. He told me that life is more than this. For Christians that follow the teachings of the Bible, you have Paul in his writings where he talks about he talks in the third person, reaching the third heaven. The third heaven. I was lucky in reaching the fourth heaven, the fifth heaven, the sixth heaven. So it gave me an opportunity to see life far more than just this human existence.
So what you're saying is that it actually starts with expressing intention, that you want to be more. So I want to open this door. I see there's a door and I want to know what's behind.
Right. So it's not wanting, it's desiring.
It's desiring. What's the difference between
big difference? Want is related to human wants. I want this, I want that, I want that. Desiring is really feeling that you need this. You need it. Want is not a need. People go past the dress shop. I'll buy this pretty dress or this pretty outfit because they want it. It's that human desire. But spiritual desire is different. Spiritual desire opens doors.
So once you express that desire, where is that taking you next? Like Tegan O'Brien is actually saying, hi Tegan, by the way, and hi Valerie. Thank you everyone for being here. I just want to acknowledge everyone joining us on Facebook. So Tegan was talking about your, out of your body experiences. Was that an astral projection?
Right. That is interesting. Very interesting question. Now, there is different types of projections. You got astral projection, you got mental projection, and you got causal projection. So astral projection is the basis. So we can astral project, we can mental project, and we can causal project. Now, the human being is not just equipped with a single physical body. This physical body is used for this physical dimension, right? But then we have the astral body. The astral body is for the astral worlds, which is 7 of them. The mental body is for the mental worlds. That's 4 of them. And the causal body is for the causal world, which is 3 of them. So you have the higher causal and the lower causal, the higher mental and the lower mental. You have the higher astral and the lower astral. So astral projection, anybody can do astral projection. Anyone can do astral projection. I've done it numerous times. But what is greater is mental projections. What is even greater is causal projections, right? So you may ask me, what is the difference? The difference is, I can read minds, Cristina, by the way.
I know that. Actually, it's interesting you said that, because me and my partner, Matt, which you've very well known, we have this way of communicating without words. Many times we just literally read our mind. And it used to be like a wonder, but now it's so common, we just laugh about it or just smile, or it's just common. So I know you can read my mind, and I know you can I don't know if it's, do you read my mind? You read my energy. You understand my energy. What is it
Now,
actually that?
what it is the vibrational frequency, right? When the vibrational frequency is the same, the communication mentally is there. When the
Mm,
vibration is the same, right? So I can go into a room and, like, for instance, when I was in Japan and I was teaching spirituality to the Japanese nuns and people, I ran a seminar and a course. And I said to everybody around me, I said, just touch me for a second. So they all put their hands around me and they touched me. And I was able to tell each one of them their character and their thoughts immediately. It shocked them. Of course, it shocked them. But what it was it was the connection I made with vibration,
yeah.
right? The vibration was the same as mine. So I was able to read their thoughts. Now, this is fourth dimensional experience. So when I was out of my body and I moved to the fourth dimensional world, I was able to read everybody's thoughts in this dimensional plane, and they were able to read mine. So there was
Mm.
no voice, there was only communication through the soul.
So Valerie Andrews, thank you for your question. She's asking, is that same alignment's quantum entanglement?
Quantum entanglement.
Entanglement, yeah.
Never heard of that. Quantum physics, I understand a little bit about, but quantum entanglement, I'm not
Maybe
fully.
maybe Valerie can, you can, if you can give us a bit more about that, just so we know, we understand exactly what you mean. But so is that possible for everyone?
Right. It depends on your frequency. It depends on you as a person, right? What
Mm.
is your aspirations, your spiritual aspirations? If you lift your consciousness, it's possible. If you keep your consciousness low, it's not possible.
Mm.
So it depends on people's consciousness.
I often explain to my clients that before I met my partner, I actually expressed the intention. I said, I am ready, for whatever relationship, I'm ready. And I'm ready to learn more about relationship, and I'm ready to experience the next level of existence. So it was like I expressed intention, desire, but I didn't force it in what form it was going to come. Now, what do you think about, you know, someone that has desires to acquire wealth, or maybe, attract a partner, bring a partner into what they should do in order for them to be able to, have that? Like, is that you have to raise your own consciousness? Is this, or what does one, I mean, I know what I did, but I just want to
Yes,
know
yes.
your opinion.
Yeah, how much do they desire it? How much do they desire it? Do they desire it at a 50%, a 40%, a 30%? Do they desire it at 100%? How much do they desire it? Are they doubtful? People doubt themselves. They say, you know, I can't get this. They fail before they even start. Oh, it's too hard. You know, there's no such thing as too hard. You can get anything you desire. You know, I designed to go to Japan, for instance. Let me give you a story here. I designed to go to Japan, and I said to my wife, I think this is the last time I'm going to go to see my teacher alive. I have a funny feeling he's getting old and he's going to pass away. And I didn't have the funds. I didn't have the funds. And something made me look into my bank account. And when I looked through my bank account, I found that the bank was withdrawing $280 more than they should every month. And then I added it all up together. I said, this is a big amount of money that they've been taking away. So I phoned the bank the next day and I said to them, I said, look, you've been drawing this money. Why? Why are you drawing this money out? They said, oh, we made a mistake. We'll refund the money. They'll send it back. And it was enough money for me to go to Japan.
Wow.
right? So how much do you desire it, right? Now, when I went to see the nuns in Tokyo and I did a seminar, when I did the seminar, you know, at the beginning of it, when I was invited to go, I didn't have enough funds, I only had the plane ticket. And now we had to live in a hotel, and that means I have to use my credit card and all this kind of stuff. And so I ran the seminar. It was a 2 or 3 day seminar. On the end of the first day, one of the ladies paid money enough for the air ticket, accommodation, and my food without me even asking. So my desire was to help people, and the universe provided this person to pay my fees.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between needing something and desiring something? Because a lot of people are confused. I find when I talk to women on a phone call, right? And they talk about, oh, I need this and I need that. So, what's the difference and what has one to do? I mean, which one should one go for? Like, do you first discover that you need something and then you start desiring, or how does it work?
So you have to ask yourselves 3 times. Do I need this? Do I need this? Do I need this? And if you get one negative, don't.
So what do you mean by negative?
Right. If there's one little doubt in your mind, this is not good for me, don't. It's
Okay.
like you're going past a dress shop, right? And you look at a dress and you say, I need that. I need that. Maybe not. Go with the not. So you got to ask yourself 3 times. And if you get 3 positives, do it. Do
Okay.
it.
All
Do
right.
you need it? That means you desire it. If it's 3 yeses, it means you desire it. If it's one negative, it's only moving towards wanting it, not needing it, not desiring it. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm. So how does one finds more, like, how do you find more love and goodness in life? Like, what if I desire more love, if I desire more goodness
All
in life,
right.
like what do you have to do? Because you know, many want a better life, many want a better, I don't know, social environment or something specific. And what do they have to do in order to have more love or more goodness in life?
It's easy, Christina. It's easy. Okay, when you walked into the karate school, and I want you to relate how you felt the moment you came at the door to come in. How did you feel? Didn't you feel that the energy was good? Didn't you feel happiness? When you saw my face, you saw me smiling. When you saw the others, they were all happy and smiling, right? So you understand it's all about vibration.
Hmm.
When you explode in vibration, the whole universe just sends you whatever you need. You can have the best partner ever. The universe will send the partner. You just need to change your vibrational frequency. Don't think, oh no, it's impossible. If you start thinking in a negative fashion, nothing will come to you. If you desire it so much, you desire it and you really need it, it will come to you. The universe will open the door and it'll happen.
So, can one raise their vibration if they hold on to anger, sadness, hurt from past relationships, from, past experiences? Can one raise their vibration?
You know what negativity is? It's baggage. It's baggage. You're carrying this heavy load in your back and you're thinking, why is my travel so difficult? We need to forget the past. Immediately cancel. The past is cancer. Cancel it. Cancel the cancer. It's gone. but you can advise people without being attached to the past. Like you're a relationship coach, right? So don't be attached to your past. Use it as an instrument to improve the life of others, but don't yourself be attached to it. So what happens? People get attached to their past. How many times you've heard people bring up the past? They want to move forward, they bring up the past. When they do that, they're attaching themselves. If you really want freedom, don't be attached to your past. It's gone. Bury it. Dig a hole and bury it and put it there and cover it with soil that it'll never germinate again. Never gem. There lies something I don't need. Anger. It's easy to be angry. One moment of anger is enough to light up a city. The energy in one moment of anger is enough to light up a city. So why use your energy in this fruitless way? Anger. Who needs anger? I have overcome so many people. When they were angry, I defeated them. The moment they got angry, I defeated them with love. So, I can tell you so many stories about that.
So Tegan has a question, but before I'm asking that, I just want to ask, why would people hold on to anger, sadness, hurt, shame? Is it because it feeds the ego? What's the reason why someone, I mean, obviously it does good, like anger and hurt and guilt, it's actually affecting. There are a lot of studies made now that it shows that it affects your body. It creates a lot of illness and disease, and stress, right? It starts with stress, right? Because your mind is basically communicating to your body to build all these stress hormones, right? So your body gets affected. So why would someone actually hold on to anger, to sadness, to guilt, to shame, to fear? For what purpose will they not let go?
Because they think it belongs to them. They think it belongs to them. It doesn't belong to them. It doesn't belong to them. It's something of the past. Drop the anchors that hold you down, right? Be in the world, but not of it. Jesus said, be in the world, but not of it. So you are in this world and you are hankering yourself down through anger, through dislike, through all this kind of negative energy. You don't need it in your life. Lift your consciousness up. I'm an embodiment of love. I'm here for the sake of goodness, Lift yourself up. That's what I do every day. Every day. I lift myself up. I say, my only prayer that I ever say, make me the best person I can be. Make me the best person I can be. That's the only prayer. I don't pray to the divine source. I don't pray to any guru. I don't pray to anybody. I just say, make me the best person I can be.
So Tegan was asking about how do you cancel this, emotional baggage. So you're saying you cancel the emotional baggage by raising your frequency and your level of consciousness. And what's the vehicle? Is that right? Have I got it right?
No, the vehicle, yes.
So what's the vehicle that would raise your consciousness? Like what
Right.
specifically you do? So you said you are telling yourself something, right? Like make me the best person I can be, or right? What should an individual do in order to go from emotional baggage to lifting their consciousness? Because like, okay, this is point A and I want to get to point B. Like, how do I travel from here to here?
Firstly, let's begin with this very simple thing. We are all embodiments of love. We need to think about that. We are embodiments of love. Love, love. We're nothing else but embodiments of love. Right? That's your starting point. So if Tegan says in the morning she gets up and she meditates and she says, I'm love. And she generates this energy. I'm love. I'm love. I'm love. Feel it in every part of her being, in every cell in her body. I'm love. nothing negative will enter until she allows it to enter. I am love. This is what we need to focus in. We are embodiments of love and nothing else, and this is the truth.
Mm.
So move your consciousness into a state of being love. There's no argument. There's no argument. I'm love.
What if my ex hurt me so badly that, and he's continued to hurt me? How do I move past that?
Yeah. That's
Because
why
a lot of my
that's why
a
they
lot of
call him the X. That's why they call him the X. So we have to treat the X with an X. We don't go there. We don't go there. The X is gone. All right. Now, what is this? Cristina, why are you such a good relationship coach? Because your ex taught you how to be that.
Hallelujah. I keep telling everyone, I have to be grateful to every relationship that I had up to this point. Because without those relationships, I will not be here. How can I hate my exes when I'm here because of them? If I would have not
You
gone
got
through
it.
those,
Yes.
and it's really interesting how my, whole outlook on life has changed, right? Because now I don't see challenges or difficult times as sometimes something that I get buried in. I actually see it as like the next step on a ladder. Sometimes if the ladder is a bit higher, it's a bit hard to kind of lift your leg and go over there. So it's difficult but not impossible. So to some people might take a few tries, right, to get up there. But it's not impossible. With enough tries, enough knowledge, if not enough guidance, right, you eventually get there. So every time I have a challenge in my life, I'm not saying I'm not crying, I'm pulling my hair. You should see me doing homeschooling at the moment. But I know I am learning from it. And for me, are the learnings that I extract from every challenge or difficult moment that I get is what helps me raise my level of consciousness. What do you think about that?
All right, Cristina, all I'm going to say to you, you look at my life. It has been traumatic from day one. It has been traumatic from day one. I was born in the middle of riots where people were being killed, houses were burnt. My father had to be taken away because he was a police officer to look after other people. He couldn't look after his own wife. She was alone. She was full of fear. I was born in this misery. We were poor growing up. We were very poor, hardly anything to eat at times. I used to have secondhand clothing of my relatives. Cristina, I lived in the most violent life possible, struggled through everything, struggled. When I became a karate teacher, I had political problems with karate people that didn't accept me, didn't recognize me for what I am, and they gave me such a traumatic life. I said to my students at that time, I said to them, don't worry about these guys. They can say whatever they like. I said, trust me. Trust me. They didn't trust me. They thought maybe there's some truth in what the other person is saying, right? And what happened in the end? Those students that gave up on me came back and said, you were right, we were wrong. Never give up. Never give up, no matter what. And all those guys that threw arrows at me, it didn't hit me at all. It didn't hit me at all. It went right back. It made a U-turn and went back. And those guys that have done harm to me have suffered. Every one of them have suffered. Not that I wanted it, but they've suffered because of their own actions. So the law of karma is an amazing power. If you understand how it works, it is an amazing power.
So So basically, in order for someone to not attract negative but attract positive, they have to be the positive. Is this what we try, like when we talk about the karma, right? Like you have to embody what you want to experience, kind of thing. Is this what you're saying?
All right, there's three powers. There's not two, there's three powers. There's the pure, the positive, and the negative. The positive and negative has karmic consequences. So when you do something positive, you get a positive return. When you do negative, you get a reaction, a negative reaction. And the ratio is normally 10 to 1. But when you do pure actions, there is no reaction. When you do a pure action, there's no reaction. Let me give you a simple example. If your child is naughty and you scold your child, right? It's not a positive or negative action. It's a pure action. The mother is scolding the child is a pure action. There is no consequence. But the child may think it's negative. Oh, mom's scolding me. It's negative. But it's not negative or positive. It's pure. So when we start doing everything with a positive view, karma doesn't work. Karma doesn't work. The universe is behind you. Everything you do from pure action, the universe will support you.
Because your intentions are good.
Absolutely. Your intention designs your destiny.
So
Your
if you
intention.
have good intentions, but the outcome is bad, then
The universe doesn't punish you. Maybe man's law will punish you. But then you need to view your life like I've done. You know, I'll give you a simple example. When I was young, all my friends and including my brother in there, we were looking for avocado pears, huge avocado pears, and there was this tree, huge avocado pears, and so we decided we were too lazy to climb up the trees. We said, "Oh, let's take a few stones and chuck at the avocado pears, and maybe we're lucky, you know, we'll get a few down." And I took a stone and threw another one. And one of the stones moved completely out of focus and hit somebody's window. So I decided to go to the owners and say, "Look, I've broken your window." My brother Sivi, who was second after me, ran up to me and grabbed me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, I want to tell these people that I broke their window." He says, "Are you crazy? Run." He said, "Run." And it suddenly dawned on me that I should be running. So I ran home. You know, that guilt stayed with me for a long time. The poor people repaired the window. They repaired the window. But that guilt stayed with me for a long time. And when I ran my shop at Rudy Hill, my glass windows, big glass windows, was broken 3 times. 3 times. And you know what? I never got upset about it because I knew I broke that window.
So how do you stop the process of getting your windows broken? Because like I get it. Like, okay, so you broke a window, you got your own windows broken 3 times. So how do you stop that process? How do you have to let go of the guilt, or what is it that you?
No, when the third window was broken, I said, "I'm sorry." I apologize.
Did you have to forgive yourself?
That's right. You forgive yourself. You forgive yourself. And what I did was to imagine those people in front of me, and they were a long time gone by then. But I said, "I'm really sorry I broke your window. I'm really sorry."
So the power of intention, you don't have to have an audience for it. Like if you just take time and, for example, you forgive yourself for something you've done in the past and you have extract the learnings from it, the positive learnings, are you able to let go of all this heaviness, that's, anger or this emotional baggage we're talking about?
Yeah, we're dropping the baggage, right? We're dropping the baggage. Forgiveness is the best way to drop the baggage. The baggage that we hold on to. Karma soon disintegrates the law that affects you. It goes, it disappears. As long as you forgive yourself and forgive others immediately. Jesus on the cross said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He should have completed the sentence to say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do to themselves. To themselves. That's what happens to us. We do it to ourselves. Nobody does it. We do it to ourselves. But there's a reason for suffering as well. My suffering made me a teacher today. If I hadn't gone through that suffering, I would have never been sitting here with you today and talking to you. I had to go through the experience.
So how once forgive, Tegan is asking, how do you forgive yourself? So can you forgive yourself, or can you forgive others? What do you have to do?
Okay. Now, there's a couple of, I think she needs to do the SMA course with me.
Well,
she's asking me questions coming out of the course, but anyway, I'm happy to help, right? The one thing that I do is the Hosman's love practice. So what I do is I sit down in meditation, I receive the energy of love into myself, and then I send this love to those people that have caused me harm, like a hose. And I fill them up with this love, and I say, I forgive you. So one of the parents was upset with me and said to me, oh, why have you reprimanded my children? I don't like the way you treated my kids. And he abused me, and he used the worst possible language on me. Now, there was two things I could do: punch him, knock him out, or forgive him. So I chose forgiveness.
You're really good at that punching. It would have come in very easy to you, isn't it?
So in my mind, I forgave him. Now, every time I thought about that guy, all I did was to send him love, and I said, I forgive you. 2 years later, Cristina, he walks into my shop, and I had full of customers, tears in his eyes, and he comes to me and he says, I'm so sorry for what I did to you 2 years ago. He was like a baby. He was crying like a baby. I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, I forgive you. Right? He got up. I never saw him again. I'm not sure if he's alive or dead. He was gone. But the most intriguing story, and I'm going to tell you, your people today, the most fascinating story, is I was in an ashram in India, and we got up at 4 o'clock to do a special meditation and walk around the ashram, which we do. And when we finished, I saw a beautiful picture of one of the great teachers, spiritual teachers. And as Indian customs, you touch the feet of the teacher. And so I was going to go to the photo and touch the feet of the teacher. And an elderly gentleman that was like what they call a Sevadal, they guard the place and tell people to go away and so on. So he said, go, 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 leave the place, leave the place. It's meditation's over. And he was very harsh. And I said to myself, I said, if this man was out on the street, I would knock his head off. But I can't do it. I'm in a holy place. And I had that nasty thought in my head. I went back to tell my wife, I forgive everybody in this world, but I'll never forgive that man. I will never forgive that man for what he did. He stopped me from prostrating at the feet of a great teacher. 4 years later, I went back. Now, can you imagine that this ashram is filled with thousands of people every single day? Nobody remembers anybody. So what happened, Christina? 4 years later, I'm sitting in a line and there's hundreds of lines, hundreds of people in each line, all were queuing up. And I was about 25 people down. And in front of me was the same gentleman walking up and down. I remembered him. I remembered him. I will never forget his face. So in my mind, I said, that's the man I've never forgiven. So he was as harsh as normal and scolding everybody and saying nasty things. And the young boy in the front said, why are you behaving so badly? He said to this elderly gentleman, why are you behaving so badly? Why are you treating us like this? We're human beings. Are you the master here? And the old man looked at him and said, how dare you call me the master? He said, only God is the master. How dare you call me the master? And his eyes fell on me. I was 25 people. He walked straight to me, fell on his hands and knees, and said, please forgive me for what I did to you.
Oh.
4 years later, 4 years later, I put my hand on his shoulder and I said, I forgive you. He got up with tears in his eyes and left. 2 years later, he was dead.
What do you think caused him to come to that sort of
Christina,
moment?
we're not in charge. Christina, we're not in charge. We're not in charge. The divine is in charge. The divine knows every single detail. Everything is recorded. Every action, I'm doing this action, it's recorded. Everything is recorded in the universe. It's recorded in the Akashic records. People don't know about it. Every single thing that we do, our past life, our present life, it's all recorded. And the universe makes sure that everything balances off. That's what karma is all about, balancing everything in life.
So tell us a little bit about SMA. Like what is SMA, and how did you come up with the idea of having this course?
Yeah, thanks to you, Christina, you introduced me to Tina. And Tina and I were on a podcast and she started asking me questions of different things. And it suddenly dawned on me that I should start creating a course. I got off this podcast with her and I wrote out the SMA in 15 minutes.
Incredible.
In 15 minutes, I wrote the entire program.
You are an author. I mean, you wrote actually 14 books, right? One of my favorite is right here, Freedom is right? And you have out of the 14, 7 are audio as well, audio books, right?
Yes, I got audio books. Not out of the 14. It's the 14 physical books as well as audio books.
Oh, well, I better start reading.
I wrote.
So, writing comes very easily to you, it seems like. Why do you think is that?
Right. Okay. Let me give you an example. I was running a subcontracting business building. I was running a martial arts shop and a sports shop with my wife. And I was teaching karate in the evenings. And I decided to write a book called We Are God. I wrote the book in 21 days with 2 and 3 hours of sleep. In 21 days, I finished the book. I said, whoa, that's okay. Let me do another one. And I wrote another book called We Are the Power of God. And then I decided, okay, I'll stop there because it will continue. So I had a break from it after that. So this book, We Are God, is being used by people in different parts of the world as a study circle book, that We Are God.
I actually, I was going to name of some of your, like if you were to recommend some of your books, what would be your top 3 books that, you recommend to our audience?
Yeah, I like the book that you've got there, which is Freedom Through Frequencies.
Oh,
Yeah. The other book that I recommend is Kiatsu. They can get it all in Amazon. Kiatsu 1 and 2. Kiatsu is about enlightenment.
mhm.
You know
You
what I
actually
like?
have. Oh,
Sorry?
go ahead. Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. I mean, for the karate people, discovering martial arts is good because it gives them more than just the physical aspects. It talks about the mental and the spiritual side. And for those karate people that like the mental and spiritual side, there's a book called Budoka, True Spiritual Warriors, that deals with the mind and the spirit, right? We Are God is for all religious groups, right? It's not blasphemous. People may say, oh, how can you say we are God? You know, I'm talking about the energy source of love. That's what we are, right? So, so that's what I'm talking about. We are embodiments of love, and God or the higher or the creator is love. So we are all love.
And you're also writing poems. You actually have a book, right? Poems of the Spiritual Heart.
That's right. Yes, Poems of the Spiritual Heart. You know, I suddenly, if you talk to me long enough, Cristina, I can write a poem about you very quickly.
I know you're very inspired most of the time.
I,
So,
I've I've done this in so many occasions, sitting down at dinner table and talking to people, and we talk about poems, and I'm scribbling away on a piece of paper or on my phone, and then I say, okay, I just wrote a poem about you, and I'll read out the poem, and people will be surprised how quickly it was done.
so you said you wrote SMA, right, in literally about 15 minutes. So, how is SMA benefiting, and can you tell us the significance of SMA? What does it, SMA stands for?
Well, the
And
main,
how is that helping others?
yeah, okay. No, I had quite a few people in my course, and I have a few people now presently doing the course, which is good. So SMA is divided into 6 different categories. The first category is SMA, the leadership program, right? Where I take people through the journey of life, every step of the way, as you've done, every step of the way, how life was created to this point of existence, right? And what is beyond this point of existence, how they can move from here and have amazing experiences beyond this, right? As you have on a number of occasions told us about your amazing experiences. So that is the leadership course. Then I have a course called Living with SMA, where we talk about the different ways of living above the humanism, above being a human person, but a divine being. The knowledge of SMA is another course which deals with clairvoyant and clairaudient abilities, where you are able to read thoughts and you are able to project yourself and know things about other people, feel other things about other people. Then I've created a course for children, SMA for children, which deals with ethical behavior, mannerisms, discipline, and so on, human values. You know, children today, Cristina, unfortunately, do not get the kind of education about how to live righteously. It's more about earning a living. All the education is directed towards having a degree of some sort and earning a living rather than how to live, right? So I created the course. I've just created a course. My nephew, Priyan, has spoken about a course that will be fantastic for young adults, which is about, you know, today, social media and things are getting people distracted from life itself. People aren't able to reach their goals. So yesterday I wrote out a course for young adults to motivate them and make them better thinkers about their future, focus on their goals and so on. And I also did a course on teaching people how to become teachers of meditation. So these 6 courses are available if anybody wants to do it.
That's good. Thank you so much for sharing that. And if you were, because You know, me and you, we can talk forever. So it's been it's been an hour that we've been talking about. What will be something that you want to tell, those who are watching us right now, if you were to leave them with, something that they can take with them and support them, what would be something that you want to tell them?
We all want a better world, Christina. We all want to be living in harmony and peace. As Gandhi says, Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change you want the world to be. Be the change you want the world to be. We all want the world to be better. So we have to change ourselves, become better people. Start the day with love, fill the day with love, end the day with love. This is what I believe in. We need to lift our consciousness, experience. I mean, the brilliance of life is right there for our picking, for our taking. It's right there. We just have to reach out and grab it. Okay. This physical dimension of life is only part of the journey. It's part of a mighty journey, and why are we stopping just on this human state of consciousness? Why don't we explore greater states of consciousness and experience the beautiful things? I got so many stories of my experiences. It's mind-boggling even to me.
Yeah, you definitely do. I heard many of them, and you also have a group where you share, knowledge daily, and is that open to public or?
Yes, anybody that wants to join, they just have to ask me on Messenger. I'd like to be in the group. Every day, as I did this morning, every day I write out a story or something, or most days anyway. I write out something that I feel the world needs to learn, and I put it out there.
Okay,
So it's a
so the
Kyatsu group.
messenger,
They
yeah,
can join. They can ask me. They want to be part of the Kyatsu group. Absolutely, absolutely.
okay, and I'm going to post a couple of links as well for people that they can find you on your website, right? I'm
Right.
going to post them into the comments as soon as we finish. Now, so if one wants to really raise their vibration, raise their frequency, the number one thing they should do is to love more, be love.
Absolutely. Mm.
What else? Is it anything else?
Do SMA.
That's right. That's
Do
right.
SMA. This SMA will take them through 8 weeks of 8 1-hour lessons. And I will give meditation techniques that they do daily, 3 meditation techniques. They do the 3 meditations with discipline every day. And I will, of course, teach them different things and guide them with different things. And if they do the meditation practices, right, and keep and be disciplined, they will reach a higher state of consciousness. But if, of course, they neglect to do it, it's not going to help them, right? You need to use the tools that are out there. You can't put a building up without tools, right? So the
That's right.
meditation techniques are tools, and all the other things that I give is for them to lift their consciousness. So I would say to the ordinary people, okay, assuming that people don't want to go through the SMA course, that's fine. I mean, nothing is forced. But if you want to accelerate yourself, if you want to take a bullet train, to spirituality, then SMA is the way, right? But if you want to take this journey slowly and you don't care how many lives more you're going to be leading, that's fine too. But I would say to them, start by being a good person. Think about how can I live my life to become a better person than I was yesterday, right? And just take away all those things that don't belong to you, put it to the side, and don't go back there. Change your life.
It's interesting you're saying that because so many people are scared to be good because they think that they're, going to be taken advantage of. So what do you do when you come in contact with people that take advantage of it? Do you continue to be good? Do you continue to love them?
Yeah, you know what? You don't give a beggar all your money. You become the beggar and they become the rich person, right? So everything in moderation, everything in moderation. You got to use discretion, right? You can't become over compassionate because you suffer. You can't become over tolerant because you suffer. Compassion and tolerance is there for you to adopt a certain amount of it. You can't become over compassionate. Imagine the pain that you go through. You can't be over tolerant. People will take advantage. You got to stand firm. You got to believe in some things and stand your grounds about it. But of course, think about, is this good? Is this bad? Is this right? Is it wrong? We have the ability to discriminate between right and wrong, good and bad. We have it. It's in our conscience, but we don't overdo it. We don't over exercise. And be careful of people's energies as well, because people carry negative energies. So very quickly, I'll tell you a story. Can you talk?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you a story. So there was a monk in India. Monks travel from house to house, and they meditate and pray the whole day, and people feed them. So one of the monks came to a spiritual person's home and knocked on the door, and he said, I'd love to have some food. And the spiritual person got his wife to cook some food, and they called the monk in and they fed him. Wow, that was amazing. He enjoyed the meal. And the spiritual person then said, you can come next week as well. Come back next week and we'll give you another meal. So anyway, off he went. He was very grateful. Off he went. So what happened was the following week he came along, but the spiritual person's wife had gone out shopping and they had nobody to cook the food. So he called the neighbor and he said, please help us cook the food for this gentleman. He's hungry and he's come to my home to eat. So the lady got there, said, okay, I'll do that. And she cooked the dinner. She cooked the meal for this guy. And so the monk sat down to eat, and he was eating away. And he looked at the fork and he said, wow, this is a beautiful fork. So after he ate the food, he cleaned the fork and put it in his gown, and he stole the fork. And off he went. So he came back a few days later. His conscience was worrying him that he stole this fork. He came back to the spiritual person's house. He says, Rick, I'm really sorry I stole the fork. You were kind enough to give me a meal, but I stole your fork and I don't know why I did it. So the spiritual person now inquired about the lady next door, about the kind of person she is. And he discovered that she likes taking other people's stuff. She loves it. So when she was cooking the food, those were the thoughts in her head, the things that she's done. So what happened? That energy was in the food that they consumed, right? With the result, it went into the thought frame of the monk who stole the fork. Now, when you hold your glass of water like this, and you say a prayer, or you give it love, the frequency of the water changes. The frequency of the water changes, and when you consume the water becomes you. The energy in the water is now you. So, what I'm trying to say here is your thoughts changes the frequency of food, of water, of anything that you do. So when people have negative thoughts, that's why in India they do the special prayer, right? Which is an amazing prayer. It's a short one. amazing prayer of taking the negative energy out of food, if there is any, and when they consume it, it's full of love. Anybody wants to learn it, I'm happy to share this. So, I'm happy to share it.
Thank you. I love your stories, and I love, everything that you share every time, after every conversation with you. I feel, the next level of wisdom. So I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here.
It's been an
Um,
absolute joy.
and
Absolute joy.
thank you to everyone, Judy, Valerie, and Tegan. There were a few more that I can't remember from the top of my mind, but thank you everyone for being here and asking your questions. I'm going to have this available on my page, so you can rewatch it if you want. And yeah, I'm looking forward to another one sometime in the future, maybe in a few months, to talk again about the next
Yeah.
level.
Cristina, there are hundreds of people waiting for this. Hundreds of people, they've already asked me. Because of the time change, they weren't able to view it, come on because of the difference in time, right? So is this going to be made into YouTube or something like that?
I'm going to, I have it recorded, so I'm going to be able to send you the link. And
Okay,
yeah, and
fantastic.
we're going to be able to share it. I'm not sure about the YouTube, but we can talk about it. But thanks
Okay,
again.
okay. Now
Thank
I
you
was just
so much for
thinking in
being
terms of
here.
sharing, I'm from
Yeah,
the old school, so I don't know much about these things.
yeah, yeah, no worries. We can talk about it. We can talk about it and see what we can do and in
Yeah,
terms of sharing on YouTube as well. But thank you everyone for being here. If you want to find Hanshi on Facebook and follow him, I'm going to have a link in the comments as well, and you can follow him as well on his profile. And if you desire to be part of his Kyatsu messenger group, then just contact him directly and he'll be able to add you to the group as well. All right?
I'm happy to help anybody, Cristina, but I thank you for the opportunity you've given me today to be able to express some of my heartfelt feelings.
Oh, you are a blessing in everyone's life. So thank you. Appreciate it. It's great to have you here.
Just wonderful day. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.